Welcome to the Abyss of Fear, where shadows whisper chilling tales and nightmares come to life. Join us on the ShiverVerse, your gateway to the macabre.
Lament of the Phantom Corsair.
On a moonlit night, the beach lay deserted, shadows dancing with the ebb and flow of the tide. A chilling wind whispered forsaken memoirs of those passed through the skeletal remains of long-forgotten beachfront structures. The moon cast an eerie glow on the desolate sands, revealing a celestial stillness that belied the ominous presence lurking beneath. Tales tell of an ancient curse that had befallen the seaside town centuries ago. As the story went, a group of sailors, weary from their travels, sought refuge on these shores. Little did they know that the beach held a dark secret, an ancient evil curse. The locals, fearing the curse, warned the sailors to turn back, but they dismissed their warnings with laughter and arrogance. The sailors set up camp near the water's edge, oblivious to the sinister forces at play. As night descended, a haunting melody echoed through the air, a tune so captivating it drew the sailors towards the water like moths to a flame. The once calm sea transformed into turbulent frenzy waves crashing against unseen barriers. As the sailors approached the water's verge, a ghostly figure emerged from the mist, cloaked in seaweed and brine. The figure sang a lament that spoke of lost souls and a thirst for vengeance. The sailors, ensnared by the haunting ballad, were pulled beneath the surface, their screams swallowed by the unforgiving sea. Since that fateful night, the beach bore witness to inexplicable occurrences. Natives spoke of the ghostly apparitions wandering the shoreline, their mournful cries carried by the wind. It became a place shrouded in superstition, avoided by those who knew the chilling tale passed down through the generations. Despite the warnings and the legends, there were always those whose curiosity got the better of them. One particular night, a brave researcher who studied the town's archives decided to spend a night on the haunted beach. As he set up camp, the atmosphere thickened with an unsettling tension. A distant wail echoed through the darkness, sending shivers down his spine. Unperturbed, he gathered himself around a flickering campfire, exchanging nervous laughter in an attempt to mask his growing unease. As the night deepened, strange shapes moved into shadows. The campfire flickered erratically, casting elongated shadows that danced with malevolent intent. As the temperature dropped, the researcher began to notice the presence closing in, a cold breath on the back of his neck. What felt like an icy grip on his shoulder cemented him in place, paralyzed in utter disbelief. Suddenly, a haunting melody echoed through the air, a mournful tune that seemed to seep from the very fabric of the night. Panic set in as the researcher realized he was not alone. Ghostly figures emerged from the darkness, their eyes empty voids that bore into the soul of the intruder. The cursed spirits of the long-lost sailors had risen once more. In his frantic attempt to flee, the researcher ran for what seemed like miles. Something kept him from turning to the town, only to have his feet stay in the condemned sands. Something in the sand sparkled in the moonlight, catching the eye of the researcher. He had stumbled upon an ancient tablet hidden among the shoreline. Symbols etched into the weathered stone hinted at dark rituals performed in ages past. It became clear that the beach harbored a malevolent force fueled by the vengeful spirits of the sailors. As he huddled in fear, surrounded by the encroaching phantoms, a realization dawned. He was destined to become part of the beach's cursed legacy. The spectral figure, draped in seaweed and sorrow, emerged from the shadows. The researcher was stunned, unable to move in its unearthly presence. The haunting melody reached a crescendo, sealing the fate of the interloper. The beach, once a haven for sunbathers and laughter, now stood as a mausoleum of lost souls. The curse persisted, claiming the unsuspecting and ensnaring them in its eternal night of ghastly torment. The legend spoke true, and the beach remained a forbidden realm, where the line between the living and the dead blurred with each crashing wave. As the haunting melody echoed through the night, the researcher, gripping tightly to the tablet, felt an inexplicable connection with the spectral figure. The phantom suddenly felt familiar, as if it was an old friend. a warmth that only a good memory could bring. Locked in the trance, he approached the seaweed-draped entity, compelled by an unseen force. The ghostly figure extended a skeletal hand, and to the shock of the researcher, he willingly took it without hesitation. A strange calm washed over the beach as the figure led him towards where he found the tablet. The other eerie apparitions watched in silence as the haunting melody transformed into a melancholic lullaby. The paranormal figure, with a voice that seemed to carry the weight of centuries, spoke to the researcher.
You carry the mark of the one who can break the curse.
It whispered, revealing the origin of the haunting melody and the tragic tale of the sailors. The ghostly figure was a noble, beloved by many, with a passion for music and a love for the craftsmanship of barding. Though this was the path I chose,
Not all held ecstasy in their hearts for my prosperity.
his mother, infuriated with a son that wanted to live such a whimsical lifestyle, ordered his untimely death. Locked upon a ship headed to the desolate ocean where he would meet his end, his singing was all he had to keep him company. A few days into the voyage, a storm rolled in and thrashed the boat until it was only shambles. Alone, I met my fate,
But my music could never be silenced.
what was left of the wreckage washed up upon the beach where they resided, which is now where his soul laid. The researcher, chosen by fate, was bestowed with the responsibility to unravel the mysteries that bound the restless spirits. The ancient tablet, illuminated by an ethereal glow, revealed hidden symbols and cryptic writings. The researcher, guided by an unseen force, began deciphering the mysterious language etched into the stone. Each revelation unraveled a layer of the curse's dark history, exposing a tale of betrayal and revenge that spanned generations.
Those born in honesty shall thrive. Souls ended in doubt shall never die.
The words echoed in his head as he looked over the tablet. He wasn't a linguist, but he read it as clear as any book despite never seeing the ancient language before. As the researcher delved deeper into the ritualistic secrets and spoke the chants that popped into his head, the beach itself seemed to respond. The turbulent sea calmed, and the malevolent spirits retreated, their mournful cries fading into the night. A spectral mist enveloped the beach. The researcher could barely see 5 feet out in front of him. The last line of the tablet glowed stronger than the rest.
Lead me to my rest, so that others shall do the same.
It was then that the researcher realized what he must do. His body was drawn through the mist, guided by a spiritual compass, almost as if he could see the path illuminated in the sand. The seaweed-draped spirit looked off in the distance as he departed. His melody, though melancholy, had a glimmer of hope in its notes. His journey led him to a grove at the end of the beach, covered in nettle, seemingly forgotten by time. He pulled back some of the branches and crept through the muggy waters until he found what looked like a stone pillar jutting from the deluge. The tablet began to glow. The frame of a door glowed with the same ghastly gleam as the tablet onto the pillar. Part of the stones disintegrated, revealing deserted chambers. Wary, he descended down the dusty stairs into the dim-lit corridors. As he navigated through the eerie passageways, he could hear whispers of otherworldly chanting, which, for some reason, had a calming effect on his nerves. In the heart of the hidden chambers, the researcher discovered an ancient relic, an amulet, adorned with symbols matching those of the tablet. As he held the amulet, a surge of power coursed through it, connecting with the mystical forces that lingered in the air. The haunting melody resurfaced, harmonizing with the amulet's energy. The words of an ancient chant began to overtake his mind as he drew closer to the amulet's presence. He said them aloud as his body began to move on its own, performing an ancient ritual not seen in centuries. The amulet merged with the tablet in a flash of eerie light. The beach trembled as if an earthquake erupted in the distance. Visions of spirits trapped in limbo between life and death being freed appeared in his mind. The seaweed-draped figure, now transformed into a serene apparition, nodded in gratitude before dissipating into the mist. Then, all went black. As dawn broke, the researcher woke up on the sands next to his camp. The beach transformed from a gloomy terrain to a serene landscape bathed in the soft light of the rising sun. The ruin stood as a testament to the centuries-old curse that had finally been broken. The researcher, exhausted but triumphant, gazed at the tranquil sea, knowing he played a part in lifting the veil of sorrow that plagued the beach for so long. The once forbidden shore, now free from the cadaver's grip, beckoned to be rediscovered by future generations. The haunting melody, once a harbinger of doom, became a distant memory as laughter and joy replaced the mournful echoes that resonated through the morning. The researcher, feeling a sense of accomplishment for what he did that day, walked off into the sunset on the beach. He began humming a familiar tune, which somehow clouded his mind. He tried letting out a sigh of relief, but no air filled his lungs. Feeling uneasy, he noticed a smoke trail not far from where he was. With his steps feeling lighter than air, he made his way to it. What was this he was feeling, as all of his troubles, aches, pains vanished into thin air? He stared in horror at what he saw as he approached the smoke trail. It was him, unmoving, lifeless, covered in sand as if he had been there for a long time. He shuddered as his heart dropped as he tried to turn away. Behind him, not a trace, no footsteps in the sand, as if he left no mark on the beach. He looked back. His body was not there. No fire, no nothing, only sand. He couldn't think. All he could do was hum his melody. Suddenly, the words, "Lead me to my rest,
so that others shall do the same,"
repeated in his head over and over until his vision went black. He awoke, on the beach, covered in sand as if he had been there for a long time. Was it a dream? He thought to himself as he brushed the sand off. He packed his things and made his way off the beach. An adventure no one would believe, but an escapade that he would remember forever. As he made his way to the abandoned town, he took one last look at the shoreline. A beautiful morning, gulls singing as the waves splashed against the sands, truly a sight to behold. The beach sprawled on the horizon, the rocks shined on the coastline. Almost picture perfect, with not a footstep in the sand. Hey guys, this is your host, Shivers, and this is Versi, and you have been watching the ShiverVerse. Be sure to follow on all socials for updates and previews of future work. You wouldn't want to upset Versi.